Have you ever heard about reverse mortgages, or have you ever um, been offered as a notary to do a signing for a reverse mortgage? They've had quite the history, and today I'm super excited because I get the opportunity to interview Nina Penny, who is an expert in reverse mortgages, and I think you're going to find the information she shares today to be incredibly helpful. So if you're ready for this interview, I'm certainly ready for it. Hang on to your seats, guys, because you're really going to get some really great insight on how you can expand your notary business to include reverse mortgages. I am really honored to have the opportunity to introduce you all to Nina Penny of Simple Reverse Mortgage. Nina has been a part of the mortgage industry since the 80s, and in just 13 or so years ago, she was introduced to reverse mortgages. She educated herself about reverse mortgages, and from there developed a passion for teaching others about reverse mortgages and specializing in reverse mortgage notary work. Nina, I'm thrilled that you're here to have you here, and thank you so much for making time to be here with me today.
Oh, I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to be here.
Well, awesome. Well, let's just get started, and I have a lot of questions for you. Okay.
Good, let's go.
There's a lot I want to talk about, but before we get too deep into it, I'd like to start these interviews with a question about your journey with reverse mortgages. How did you get started?
So I actually have been kind of in the mortgage business since the 80s. As I kind of when I wanted to go to college, um, I had to pay for it myself. So I went to work in a bank, worked in mortgages, and so then left the industry for a while and came back in. And I've been doing mortgages for 25, maybe now 25 years.
Hmm.
And what happened was that I was doing your traditional loans, right? Conventional, FHA, all those.
Hmm.
And it was good. And I had a friend of mine, he called me up one day and he said, "What do you know about reverse mortgages?" This was in the early 2000s, probably
Right.
2002. And I said, Nothing. Why?" And he goes, "Oh, Carol," which was his wife,
Hmm.
"wants a reverse mortgage." He said, "Go find out about them." I said, "Okay, fine." So I
Yeah.
did a lot of research, right? And researched it, and he'd call me up and he'd be like, "Did you find anything out? What do you think?" So I'm checking. That doesn't seem so bad, it doesn't
Yeah.
seem so like a bad thing. So hang on. So I don't know, maybe about a month after that, I called him up and I said, "Hey, Phil, I can't see any reason why Carol shouldn't get this product. It's great. I think it's great." And he said, "You're too late. She's already started the process."
Oh.
And so and then I think I just went about my normal business. And my very good friend said to me, "Nina, you need to start doing the product. You should start doing this type of loan because you know it now so well." And that's kind of how I got into it. And so, yeah, I educated myself on it. Back in those days, there weren't a ton of people that did them or did them well. So
Hmm.
I was very fortunate that, some of the vice presidents and the four founders of the great reverse mortgages were around at that time and really helped me. And so since then, I've loved it.
Very interesting. Well, can you give us kind of a short explanation of what a reverse mortgage is for those that don't know?
So I think the easiest way to explain it is to say that it's really just an FHA loan that you're not obligated to make payments on. You can if you want, but you don't have to. Okay. You just have to keep up with your taxes and insurance and HOA. But that's probably the best way to explain it in a nutshell is that it really is just like an FHA loan. We have, there's mortgage insurance on it, and there is basically underwritten to the same guidelines as a traditional FHA loan.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, at what point during your exposure and then education about reverse mortgages did you think it was time to teach people about them?
Well, I think there's two different things. I mean, when you say teach people, teach notaries or teach the
Yeah,
general public?
teach.
Notaries?
Did you teach the general public first?
Yes, I would do presentations basically because the misconceptions of the reverse mortgages, right?
For a
So
lot,
people
yeah.
think about reverse mortgages, they think about the product in the 60s, in the 70s,
Mhm.
and 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 then in the 80s it totally shifted, right? Where we got into the FHA product of it.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I do a lot of presentations, but with the notaries is that I always showed up for my signings. It was really important for me to be there,
Hmm.
right? Because that's kind of like somebody once said to me, that's where you step in and you take a bow, right?
Yeah.
Did a great job. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wonderful performance, right?
Yeah.
And I would go to my signings. And it was really eye opening to me because I would sit there, and the notary would be there. And, they'd look really relieved to see that the loan officer was there.
Hmm.
And they didn't really know anything about the product.
Hmm.
And they really didn't seem to be sensitive to the demographic. And I think that's a really big
Yeah.
point of
I,
what
I
really
think
made
that's
me
the point
decide.
we need to make, though. The demographic for reverse mortgages is what, 65, 50?
60. Well, we go down to 55 now, but basically,
We,
you're looking at
yeah.
seniors. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. And
And
sensitivity to that is important. In any industry that you're in, I think having a sensitivity and appreciation for that stage of life people are in is really important. So I can understand why you might have been a little bit like, this notary doesn't know. And part of the problem was that notary probably didn't understand what reverse
what they were,
was. Yeah,
exactly, Jennifer.
yeah.
They didn't know what the product was, right? They were unprepared. They didn't realize that, this demographic, they kind of a little more sensitive to maybe what you look like or how you dress or how
Mhm.
you present yourself, right?
Right.
And then if they ask you a question and you don't know it and you seem all flustered and then they felt, seniors get a little agitated sometimes when they ask you something and you don't
Mhm.
know the answer.
Yep.
And yeah, a lot of times they don't know. They don't know that, what, we are notaries.
Yeah.
We're not loan officers, we are notaries.
Right.
And so it, you know,
Hmm.
a lot of notaries love the demographic. They love sitting there with, hearing the stories about Betty and her
Yeah.
swinging
All the
days,
stories.
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. So,
So that led you to start teaching notaries how to do this. That's what led you
well,
to that.
yeah, I think what led me to that really was meeting Bill, I think.
We'll get to that introduction soon, but I want to ask you a
Okay.
question. Does a reverse mortgage follow kind of the same cyclical cycle as regular mortgages and interest rates?
Well, I'm gonna say yes. Now, everybody knows the interest rates have really risen lately, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So that's kind of a trick question because I can answer on two different fronts if you don't mind.
Go for it.
Okay. So a lot of times when we have higher interest rates, right, that will have an impact on how much money somebody can somebody access to, right?
Mhm.
Higher rates means they have access to less money in the reverse mortgage.
Okay.
And a lot of people want the reverse mortgage because money's really tight,
Right.
right? People talk about inflation, the cost of living is so crazy. They can do a reverse mortgage even though the rates are high because they need the funds,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
There's also on the other side of that, that people that maybe own their home free and clear love a higher interest rate because of the growth rate that's attached to a reverse mortgage, right? So
Gotcha.
if the interest rate is higher, that growth rate is going to be higher. So their unused funds that sits there in the line of credit will grow at a faster, higher rate because the interest rates are higher.
Gotcha.
But do we slow down when rates are higher? Yes, and that's because they get less money. So, back when things were good, it was 50%, right? So
Yeah.
if you were 62 and your house was worth 500,000, you would probably have access to $250,000,
Right.
right? Today, it's probably maybe 180.
Mm.
So that's where the interest rate kind of falls in the same
Makes,
circular
yeah,
as traditional.
the play that it makes in this whole situation. That makes
Yep.
sense. Do you believe that notary signing agents who are not doing reverse mortgages are missing a part of the industry by not knowing about this, or not learning about it, or not providing it?
Well, I mean, let's say you don't like seniors, right? Let's say you're kind of like and there's nothing actually wrong with saying, it's not the demographic I like working with, or it takes too much time. There's nothing wrong with those,
Right.
you know. I know that for me in my business, I'm streamlined, right?
Mhm.
So I want to go in, I want to do that. I can do, if I can do two signings instead of doing one reverse, maybe I like that.
Right.
And some people may not like the demographic. So if anybody just doesn't think it's a good demographic for them, but it's a business mind to where I want to know I can do this, I can do that, right?
Yep.
I've been doing that's 95% of my business. But I tell everybody I know, if you need a traditional loan, an FHA loan, a VA loan, a conventional loan, I can still do that for you, because I never want to keep my industry small, right?
Well, we
Now,
talk
when
about that a
business
lot.
is
Yeah.
growing,
Yeah.
right? You want, even if you don't do a lot of them, just the knowledge to know it. So, you know
Mhm.
what? If business slows down and somebody calls you up and you need cash, and somebody says, "Hey, I got a reverse mortgage, it's going to pay you $200," you'd be like, "I've seen them, I've done them, I can do it,"
Yeah.
right? So
Absolutely.
it's a business philosophy of what people choose to do. But I think everybody should do it, because I think not knowing as much as you can about the different loan types that there is,
Hmm.
um, true professionals, we want to know everything.
Yeah.
We want to know all our products
Right.
and be able to step in, do it, and do it good.
Right. But we want to be experts in our field. And if loan signing is part of your field, you should be an expert in that part of your field. And that would include reverse mortgages if it's a demographic you want to work with.
Right? And you may not ever want to do them. You may never take it,
Mhm.
right? There's some things that, some loan programs I have studied and I've learned how to do. Um, wouldn't be my first choice if somebody said, I mean, it may not be my first choice of what business, but you know what? I know that when business is slow, I can step in and still take it and make a couple of bucks.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. These are
Mhm.
great points. Okay. Let's hear it. How did you meet Bill Soroka? I'm really anxious to know.
Everybody is so anxious. Everybody has to know about me and Bill. So, Bill is just, I'm like everybody else. I get starstruck.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know how long ago it was, but I guess it's maybe when he first started Notary Coach.
Oh, okay.
I had reverse mortgage signing.
Okay.
So I had a reverse mortgage signing, and the notary comes walking in, and it's Bill. And Bill's doing my reverse mortgage signing. And he was great. I really liked him. We kind of, on the way out, we kind of chuckled a little bit.
Mhm.
Bill was really, I think we had a really nice time during that. My client was great. It was a great experience for us. And I was like,
Awesome.
okay, well, nice to see you around. And he's like, okay, bye. And we kind of went our own way. And then I had another signing, and then comes Bill Schrock again. And this one was not as pleasant or as easy as the first one.
Hmm.
And we got to talking, and on the way out, he said to me, um, I have this little notary coaching business I'm doing. Would you be interested in maybe coming on and talking about reverse mortgages sometime? And I was like, sure, I'll do that. I'll do that for you. And he's like, okay, great. And he probably thought, I'll never hear from her again. But I
Yeah.
did. I did follow up with him, and I'm like, hey, I want to do it. I thought about it. I want to do it. Why not?
Yeah.
And so I would come on periodically, and I'd talk about like the state of the union or the state of the address of mortgages and
Mhm.
reverses. And it was good. It was really kind of interesting, because I think maybe I was one of the first guests he's had. And a
Probably.
little side note, a little side note is that we would talk about or have an agenda of what we would talk about, right? And
Yeah.
he'd be on the call with every call with me. We'd do it together,
Wow.
right? Which is
Yeah.
great. And then and then he said, "How about I'm doing this, coaching. How about would you want to do a course on reverse mortgages and notary signing?"
Is that really how it started for you, this course?
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
And I was like,
he's the what if man.
"Yeah, sure." So we did it. We did it. And that's how I met Bill. And so, it's been a great time, and just to be able to sit around and see where he's taken it, and
Mhm.
everybody else. And now I get to do the calls every week and he's not on them, and I feel like I've graduated.
You graduated. Well, so that's how you met Bill. So when Bill and Laura and Jen put together NBB, then you were probably a natural to just be a part of that.
I was already on the notary coach.
Mm,
So when I was probably the first course, now I could be wrong, but we need to check with Bill. I think I might have been the first course he did
right.
besides his normal notary coach.
Gotcha.
I think I was the first course.
Hmm.
Now I could be wrong. I think we should make sure it's not fake news, but I
Yeah.
think I was actually the first one.
So then I have another question, but I think you answered it. Is your reverse mortgage course available still on Notary Coach? Is it just in NBB?
Yeah, no, you can, if you really would just rather take the reverse mortgage course,
Mhm.
you can still go do that. Or
Awesome.
you can just take NBB and it's rolled into that one as well.
Right. Well, when I put this out and I give links, I'm gonna give them the option. So
Okay,
that's
that's fine.
awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
It's very entertaining as well.
Say that again.
It's very entertaining.
I no, I
Our
know.
own
I'm
course.
halfway through it. So it's a really good course.
We
Okay.
we had a lot of fun doing it.
Well, I only have one more question for you, and it's the question I'm asking of all my people I interviewed this year. And if you could give one piece of advice to notaries today, what would that be?
Well, I had to really think about that. I really did. The one thing I would tell people is never stop marketing. Never drop clients over here because you're busy doing that.
Mm,
You know, always spend time to market, always spend time to pick up new clients. And if the loan signing business is slower and now you're doing trust, don't forget your loan signing people, your title officers, because
right.
when that business comes back, if you haven't been in touch with them, guess what? John and everybody else
Yep.
has been coming in doing their thing, and they're
Yep.
going to forget you.
Yep.
So even though the business might be slow, oh, never stop.
Yeah.
Number
Stay in touch
one,
with your clients. Yeah.
if you're not, if you're not always perfecting your performance, and that's in, communicating, trying to get business, trying to ask for business, you will go rusty and lazy.
Mm.
And when you go rusty and lazy,
Yeah.
then then it's then you're going to sit
It
around and be
spells
like,
the end. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I think the number one thing that everybody does is just, take an hour a day, no matter how busy you are, and just try and make a connection, or no matter what. Don't ever, the business you work so hard for, just because it's not producing like the way you want it to be, don't kick it to the.
I'm really glad that that's your advice. I'm really glad because it's important for people to hear. It's important for people to be reminded of. You're
Yep,
right. Even though it's not busy, I should still pop in and still send an email and still just reach
yep.
out. It's great advice, Nina.
They
Thank you
will
so
forget
much.
about you. They
They
will
will.
forget about you, and somebody else will. And you have worked, you work your butt off of that
Yeah.
business, right? To get
Yep.
that person to rely on you to be your number one. And then,
Hmm.
what, business slowed down. You just went over there and did that. And somebody else comes in and they're like, hey,
And they keep coming.
yeah,
Yes, that's right.
yep. And then business is coming back and you go in and you're like, hey, hi. And they're like,
Who are
all
you?
right, you're back at the bottom of the list.
Yeah. I agree with you. Thank you for that. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for sitting down and just chatting with me today. I appreciate you so very, very
Oh,
much.
you're so welcome.
Really enjoyable talking to you. I love your stories. I love the history you have behind this because the reason I wanted to interview and talk about it is I can't get on YouTube and talk about reverse mortgages. I've maybe done 50 of them my entire 3 years of being a
Good.
notary. So I'm not an expert and I don't think I could talk to it that way, but I think it's an important area for other notaries to learn about. And I'll bet of money on the fact that the millennial generation that's coming into this business, that has been in this business specifically, probably has never heard of a reverse mortgage. And those of us that are from the generation before have, but have heard terrible things about it. So to know that there's a new product that it's made better and it's created better and it's good for the people that need it, is
Yep.
important for people to
And,
hear.
um, the number of baby boomers who are retiring, the number's staggering.
Mm-hmm.
The number's staggering. So that's number one. Number two, nobody's going to know how long they're going to live, and nobody feels like they're going to have enough money.
Yep.
And
Yep.
housing wealth is the most underrated asset people have.
Yeah,
So it's going to be a product that's going to be great for years to come.
I agree. I agree. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. I just appreciate you. And I can't wait for people to meet you who don't already know about you. Because a lot of us do. But then there are notaries who don't, and we need to bring them into the fold. So thank you so much. And
You're welcome.
we'll definitely be in touch soon, okay? Hang in there for
You're
me.
great. Thank you.
Okay.
It's been great. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Bye, everybody. I hope that you enjoyed that interview as much as I enjoyed interviewing her and getting to know her better. Nina Penny does offer a course, and all of her information is going to be down, link below. Also, I should tell you that if you would like to take her course to learn how to be a notary and do reverse mortgages and get certified to do that, you can also do that for free in the NBB membership. I'll leave that information down below. I'm telling you guys, NBB keeps giving and giving and giving and giving. Thank you for being here. And of course, I'd love to hear any comments that you have. I'd love to share them with Anina for anything you guys like to say or ask. We'll see you guys next week. I hope you have a great week, and we'll talk to you very soon. Bye.